Am I audible, students? Can anyone reply?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay. Students, can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, before going to today's motor vehicle insurance, we'll do a quick revision of the concepts what we discussed in the previous class related to marine insurance. See, in the previous class when we discussed about marine insurance, the meaning of marine insurance was like uh, it is a contract whereby the insurer undertakes to indemnify the assured in the manner and to the extent thereby agreed against the marine losses. So, we even discussed the types of marine insurance too, which includes hull insurance, cargo insurance, freight insurance, and liability insurance. Then, majorly in the previous class, we even discussed about the principles related to marine insurance, which includes fundamentals of general contract, then insurable interest, warranties, proximate costs, doctrine of indemnity and contribution. Then we even discussed about the important clauses of marine insurance, which includes lot of not lot. That means this clause protects the insured, which is in good faith, insures goods which are on a ship which has left a foreign port. And then the second important clause, what we discussed in the previous class related to marine insurance, was name of the ship and master. That means the name of the ship and the master for the voyage which is insured. Then valuation clause, which includes the clause states the actual value of the goods as agreed upon between the underwriter and the insured in the case of a valued policy. So these concepts were discussed. Then very important was explain the various types of marine insurance policies. So the first one what we discussed in the previous class was like voyage policy, then time policy, mixed policy, then valued policy, open or unvalued policy, floating policy, then builder's risk policy and port risk policy. Then after that, we even discussed about marine risk. The marine insurance covers, okay, I think we have to discuss from here, that is marine risk and clauses in marine policy today. So what is this marine risk is concerned? I'm explaining you marine risk now, students. The marine insurance covers many risks, which includes perils of the sea. So what do you mean by perils of the sea here? Perils of sea means any type of incident of contingent, accidents or casualties at the sea. In course of the voyage, the ship may be damaged due to many reasons. The ship might be damaged due to storm or including tsunami or accidents of any kind. So these all risks are covered by marine insurance. Okay. Then the second type of risk that is called as in marine risk is fire. See what happens. It is likely that fire may occur in the ship, right? When it is a voyage. So inflammable items such as coal, or it can be oil, electricity, and others are required in a larger quantity for the operation of the ship. Thus, we can say that fire may be included as risk in marine insurance. Students, am I audible? Kedar, good morning, Kedar. Shruti, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then if we continue further, what could be other risk involved in marine? That can be theft. See, the goods may be stolen during a voyage. Therefore, theft is one of the risks associated with the sea transportation. For the purpose of marine insurance, the thieves must not be the captain and his crew themselves or the people traveling with the ship. Correct? So these are some of the risk involved. Then we can have war risk. War risk means what? The shipping companies may have to face many risks during the war period. There may exist a risk of loss of ship or cargo and freight due to attacks and counter defensive operations. So war risks are insurable in marine insurance. That's very interesting and important. Okay. And then we have land risk. What is this land risk? See, marine insurance indemnifies the subject matter of the parties right from the godown of the exporting country to the godown of the importing country against any risk of loss. So the risk of loss associated with the other means of transportation such as railways, roadways and others, warehouses, ports of both the countries and others are included and covered under marine insurance. That's very, very, very important to understand. Then very important, that is marine risk is concerned, the last type of risk that is called as jettison. Please remember this term called as jettison. I'll repeat jettison, Jettison. So jettison, explain jettison. They can ask for 3 marks for you. Okay. See, jettison means throwing overboard a part of cargo or any other goods in order to reduce the weight of the ship. See, sometimes what happens is the ship in the middle of the sea becomes heavier due to the waves. So what they do normally is, in order to make the ship lighter during such critical time, so they will normally reduce the weight of the ship. How they will reduce the weight of the ship? By throwing or overboard a part of cargo or any other goods in order to reduce the weight of the ship. Okay, so some of the cargo is deliberately thrown away with the object of preventing the ship from further damage. So loss caused by this method is one kind of marine risk, and it can be covered under the marine insurance policy. So students, today we discussed about marine risk. See here, see my cursor here, marine risk. So the first one, what we discussed today was perils of the sea. Then the second could be a fire. And the third could be theft. Then war can happen, no? So war risk. Then we have land risk. See, land risk means what? The risk of loss associated with the other means of transportation, which includes railways, roadways, and other warehouses. So, ports of both the countries and others are included and covered under the marine insurance. This is very, very important. And the last important type of risk was jettison, which includes what? Jettison. The concept is very simple. So jettison means what? Throwing overboard a part of cargo or any other goods in order to reduce the weight in the ship. So that is called as jettison. Okay. Then we will go for the next concept here in case of marine insurance, that's called clauses in marine policy. So some of the important clauses we're going to discuss in today's class. The first important clause is called as waiver clause. I'll repeat once again. The first important clause when it comes to marine policy is called as waiver clause. See, this clause is included in the policy to safeguard the interest of the insured and maintain that no act of the insured or the insurer mean to save, retrieve or preserve the insured subject matter. It shall be taken to imply that either the insured intends to forego the compensation or that insurer accepts the act as abundant of the policy. So what we are trying to understand now, we are understanding the clauses in marine policy. And the second important is valuation clause. So what do you mean by valuation clause? This clause states the value of the subject matter of insurance as settled upon between both the parties to the insurance contract. Then we have sue and labor clause. See, the sue and the labor clause authorizes the insured to take all the possible steps to prevent, or it can be to mitigate the loss, or to protect the insured subject matter in the event of danger or in the event of some risk. So the insured is entitled to recover the expenses that may have been incurred for this purpose from the insurer. Then we have jettison clause. What is jettison clause? Jettison denotes an act of throwing overboard a part of the ship's cargo in order to reduce the weight of the vessel, to save other goods, or to save the life of the human beings who are present inside the ship. So under the jettison clause, all the interested parties collectively compensate the loss suffered by the owners of jettisoned goods as a result of such acts. Then we have free of capture and seizure clause. So what do you mean by free of capture and seizure clause? Under this clause, the insurer is relieved from the liability of indemnifying the insured for the loss arising due to the capture and seizure of the vessel. So the insured can insure such an abnormal risk. It is also covered under the war risk policy. So what we are studying now, students, we are understanding the clauses in marine policy. Then we have, FPA and FAA clause. FPA means what? Free of particular average, and FAA means what? Free of all average clause. So the FPA means free of particular average clause alleviates the insurer of liability arising from particular average, while in case of free of all average clause, the insurer is relieved from both particular average liability as well as general average liability. So these are the clauses in marine policy. So what we understood now, today we understood two important concepts. That was marine risk and clauses in marine policy. So what are the difference, students, you understood between the marine insurance and the fire insurance? Did you understood any, did you found any similarity between the marine insurance and the fire insurance? Or what could be the similarity between the marine insurance and fire insurance? See, both, that is the marine insurance and fire insurance, have very important is two common features. What are they? All fire insurance contracts are contracts of indemnity like marine insurance contracts, except in case of valued policy. So secondly, the similarity goes like this: both these policies are issued only for a short period. Please understand this. So fire insurance policy for 1 year and marine insurance policy either for a particular voyage or that particular time is concerned, right? So they can ask you a question like, explain the basic or the difference between the marine insurance and fire insurance. First, what you have to do is, when it comes to basis of difference, the first important thing, how you can differentiate between the marine insurance and the fire insurance is based on the insurable interest. See, marine insurance is concerned, in marine insurance, contract insurable interest must exist at the time of the loss and need not exist when the insurance is taken. Whereas in case of fire insurance, policy, insurable interest must exist both at the time of the insurance as well as at the time of the loss. And the second, the second important point wherein I can differentiate between the marine insurance and the fire insurance is transfer is concerned. In case of marine insurance students, a marine policy can be freely transferred. Whereas in case of fire insurance, a fire insurance policy cannot be transferred without the permission of the insurance company. Please understand this. It's a definite. They'll be asking you explain the difference between the marine insurance and fire insurance. Then after that, the third important point wherein we can differentiate between marine insurance and fire insurance will be loss. In case of marine insurance students, under a marine insurance policy, the insured is given a profit up to 10 to 15% of the insured amount. Whereas in case of fire insurance, under fire insurance, the actual loss or the amount insured, whichever is less is indemnified. So please understand the third parameter. And then after that, the last but not the least, that is the point wherein I can differentiate between the marine and the fire insurance is responsibility. See, in case of marine insurance, the moral responsibility of the insured. So when I say the moral responsibility of the insured, who is insured? The cargo owner. Does not exist in case of marine insurance. Whereas in case of fire insurance, the moral responsibility of the insured is an important factor in case of a fire policy. Okay, so if they ask you the difference between the marine insurance and the fire insurance, please understand the points wherein I can differentiate between the fire and the marine insurance. The first important point was insurable interest, based on which I can differentiate between these two. And the second important point was transfer is concerned. And we have the third important point wherein I can differentiate between these two is loss. And finally, the fourth one is concerned, it is responsibility. So these are the four important points wherein I can differentiate between the marine insurance and the fire insurance. So after understanding the various types of policies associated with marine and the life insurance, next we will go to the motor vehicle insurance. And you can even write in your assignment book also or in the white sheets. I'll explain you, but try to write in your own words. Need for motor insurance and different types of motor insurance and factors to be considered for premium. I'll explain you, but after this session, try to write in a white sheet. What is the need for motor insurance? Why it is required? And types of motor insurance and factors to be considered for premium fixing. So first, let me ask you people, what is the meaning of motor vehicle insurance? Anybody? What is the meaning of motor vehicle insurance, or why a motor vehicle insurance is required? You can reply in the chat box also. Yes, students, I want interaction from your end. These concepts are common sense. You have encountered all these terminologies in your day-to-day operation or your day-to-day life. Motor vehicle insurance, what is the meaning of that, or why it is important for us to understand motor vehicle insurance? Is it really required? Insurance is concerned. Yes. Anybody, any volunteers? Vaishnavi, Parit, Shruti, Yashaswini. Okay, someone has replied. Yashaswini has replied. Let me read it. To protect against any accident or damages to the vehicle by the way of insurance. Okay, very good. Any other student? I am asking you why. She has replied very nicely. Any other student want to speak Like why motor vehicle insurance is required, or what is the meaning of motor vehicle insurance? Okay. Anyways, we got one answer. Students, please understand, motor vehicle insurance is concerned, or motor vehicles are exposed to various kinds of risk. All of you know that, such as it can be an accident, what Yashaswini mentioned just now, or it can be theft, or it can be fire, etc., which may result in what? It can result in loss or damage to them. So motor insurance products are developed to provide protection against what? Against such type of damages or such type of risk. So motor insurance is considered as one of the most important segments of the non-life insurance. That's called as general insurance. Please understand this. So all the insurance companies are expected to charge the premiums according to the tariff rates, which are uniform and standardized. So these rates are important for all the insurers, as they have to strictly abide in charging the premiums and granting benefits to whom? To the policy holders. Now, under the motor insurance or motor vehicles are insured against the following types of risk, what I'll be discussing now. The first one is loss or damage caused to the motor vehicle due to accident or theft. And the second would be accident of the vehicle resulting in the death of the owner or the passenger traveling, or even injury caused to them. Correct? Then the third important would be damages payable to the third parties due to the accident of the vehicle resulting in the injury or death of the third parties. So we will try to understand each one in detail, okay? So what do you mean by third party here? Anybody? Third party insurance offers protection against damages to the third party by the insured vehicle, correct? It covers physical injuries, damages to the vehicle, damage to the property, and even death. So third party insurance does not provide any compensation if the accident was caused due to drunken driving, right? So in terms of the Extant Motor Vehicle Act, it is a legal binding on each vehicle owner to take a third party insurance or liability insurance. So what is the benefit of this? Such a policy protects the vehicle owner against the claim raised by a third party who suffered loss or damage due to the accident caused by the vehicle. So other types of insurance are optional, that is, they are not a statutory requirement. However, the best course open to a vehicle owner is to go for a comprehensive insurance which covers all the above risks. See, here also I have seen many people, they go for, they'll not understand what all covers in the insurance contract, what they have taken. Only when the accident happens, they will go and see, okay, whether everything is covered or no. So it is very important for all of us to read the document carefully before, taking the, or before paying the premium. So why this, the first point here, why the motor insurance is required for all of us today? Because the necessity for motor insurance is felt by everyone today in this world. With the advent of large and powerful automobiles and numerous road accidents, what we are witnessing every day. So motor insurance was devised to protect the owner's interest on automobiles against some unforeseen loss or damage, and also meet the liability for compensation to the third party in case of death or injury or even damage to the third party property. The later part was called liability insurance. So when it was introduced, the government brought in legislation making motor insurance compulsory as the victims of road accidents, which are not able to get the compensation. So the Motor Vehicles Act 1939 and the new Act of 1988 made motor insurance for the third party liability compulsory and unlimited. And please understand, students, the policy issued in terms of the Motor Vehicles Act makes it compulsory to cover liability towards injury or the death to the third party or persons, damage to third party or property, injury or death to the passengers in a public service vehicle, injury or death to workmen connected to the operation of the vehicle, which includes driver, conductor, ticket examiner, and even the loadman. Okay, see, that is why we urge all of us or all to go for motor insurance. And very important is, people take insurance but they forget to renew it. So that is one important thing why we require, or what is the need for this motor insurance. Then now we will try to understand the types of motor insurance. See, the motor vehicle classification typically refers to the type of the vehicle or what type of vehicle is used. And there are five categories that the insurance companies use to classify vehicles. It can be commercial, or it can be a personal use, and it can be others. So first we will try to understand commercial means what. The commercial classification applies to vehicles that are heavily used and meant exclusively for work. So they usually have the most expensive insurance policy and include vehicles like trucks or even the construction vehicles. They are called as commercial vehicle insurance. And the second one is called as personal insurance, personal vehicle insurance, which includes vehicles that fall under the personal or pleasure category, which are not used for getting to work or school. So they are used for doing just about everything else, like running or going shopping. People who have extra vehicles are usually able to classify one for personal, or it can be a pleasure use, which often has a lower insurance premium. So what we are understanding now, the types of motor insurance. We understood about the commercial, and the second one is called personal. And then we have a business. Business means what? See, business use also involve people who have jobs that require them to drive their cars or vehicles, but not to use them to store tools or materials, like the artisan classification. Then the fourth important type of motor insurance is called commute. I'm repeating once again, commute. Commute means what? The most popular type of vehicle classification, commute, usually applies to vehicles that are used to get to and from work, but not used for them. And most students who drive to school also generally use this classification. And the last type of motor insurance will be artisan, which means drivers that fall under the artisan classification use are generally people who have professions that require them to use their vehicles for storage or transportation, like carpenters, electricians, and plumbers. Okay, so these are the five broad types of motor insurance. And then after that, the types of motor insurance will be act or liability policy, the various policy what we're going to discuss now. The basic objective of this type of policy is to ensure the strict compliance with the provisions of Motor Vehicle Act 1988, which includes coverage of risk mentioned in the Act. And very important is third party policy when it comes to motorway. Please understand the meaning of third party policy. See, third party policy offers protection against the liabilities arising out of the loss or damage caused to the property of or personal injury to death of the third parties. Further, this type of policy also provides coverage to the individuals engaged in the operation and possible legal liabilities. And we have package or comprehensive policy when it comes to motor vehicle insurance. See, package or comprehensive policy also referred to as Form B policy, which provides the protection against a wide range of risk, which includes own damage or losses, and even act liability. As against Form A policy, it is an optional policy which is issued by the insurers for safeguarding the insured against the comprehensive risk. So it actually differs from Form A policy in another respect also. Then, very important here, the third point what I mentioned for all of you is factors to be considered for premium fixing. All of you by this time know the meaning of premium, right, students? Premium fixing, factors that has to be considered for premium fixing. See, when fixing the premium, one for motor insurance, the factors that we have to consider is, the first one would be value of the vehicle. That is very important. Value of the vehicle is very important. See, premium for a vehicle, for a four-wheeler differs when compared to the two-wheeler, or premium for a four-wheeler vehicle, that is car, differs from a bus. So it will differ significantly from those of a bus. Those both are used as a passenger vehicle owing to their differences in value. And it is very expensive to replace a bus than it is for a car, because the premium even depends on the value of that particular automobile, right? And then types of motor insurance required. Please understand this. What we are understanding now, factors to be considered for premium fixing. So the second important factor is types of motor insurance required, that is third party or comprehensive. See, remember students, the third party is compulsory, but comprehensive is optional. So comprehensive accords the insured some added service not covered under the third party, hence it is very expensive. And then age of the driver. See, what we are understanding, factors to be considered for premium fixing. Age of the driver is also one of the important factor. See, teenager driver are more at risk of being involved in a road accident compared to the mature driver who is at the age of 40 years and above. Why? Because young drivers or the teenagers have more excitement and more often than not overtook the driving safety rules. Then very important factor is experience of the driver also matters. See, experience is the best teacher what you can have in your life. It can be working or it can be anything, but experience matters a lot. So an experienced driver cannot panic and can control the vehicle to safety compared to an inexperienced driver, correct? So in fact, a look at cars used in driving schools will reveal that lack of experience is responsible for those spots. Then very important, the next factor what will be considered for premium fixing is purpose for which the vehicle is used. So the vehicle is used mainly to transport me from home and to office. It is parked from morning till the time I knock off. Now consider the passenger minibus to meet the target, cashing a number of trips would have to be made each day, which increases the chance of being involved in an accident. So thus the premiums for a minibus, which will carry the passengers on a daily trips, are higher compared to those of a small private car. Why? Because for a small private car which you are using for the personal use, you're taking your car from your home, you're coming and parking at your office location and again from office to home. So what happens here, the purpose for which it is used also matters when it comes to premium fixing. Then age of the vehicle also matters. For example, vehicles have a lifetime, and when they can work perfectly well and after which they become what? weak, same like human beings, okay? The productivity will slowly start declining in human beings too. And it happens in the similar way in case of automobiles also. An old vehicle is bound to have more defects than a new one on an average. Correct? In the same vein, an old vehicle is bound to cause more accidents due some defects, hence premiums will take into account of this also. Then we have number of parties wishing to insure their vehicles. Number of parties means number of people who are involved wishing to insure the vehicles. See, insurance works on the principle of pooling of risk. All of you know this. The more people are willing to have their properties insured against a named risk, the cheaper it is for the insurance company to compensate those who suffer the peril. Thus, premiums are cheaper when the number of people taking out a specified policy is large. Correct? So how much do you think the insurance company will charge us premiums? It depends on the age of the vehicle. It depends on the purpose for which the vehicle is being used. And it also depends on the type of motor insurance required. So what we are trying to understand now is there are various factors that will be considered for premium fixing. And then we have statistical records of accident for the make of vehicle. That means some make of vehicle are more prone to accidents than others. Hence, premiums will reflect on this. Right? And number of parties using the vehicles also matters. Like if a vehicle is driven by a number of people, chances are high that it will be involved in an accident. So, one of the important rules of driving is to know your vehicle. You might have experienced, students. If you are driving your vehicle on every day, then you can, you will be having the grip on the vehicle. So in case of some accident that is going to happen, you can avoid and try to minimize that. But if you are taking your friend's vehicle or the vehicle wherein you don't have the grip, so what happens over there? There is more possibility of accidents. So number of parties using the vehicles also matters when it comes to premium fixing. So if many people drive the vehicle, it becomes very difficult to know it. So these are some of the important factors that will be considered for premium fixing. Which are they, students? The first one is called the value of the vehicle. And then we have what? The type of insurance required, the third party, or it can be comprehensive. And then we have age of the driver. That is one of the important factor. Then we have experience of the driver, then purpose for which the vehicle is being used. The number of parties wishing to insure their vehicles, then age of the vehicle, the number of parties using the vehicles and the statistical records of accidents for the make of vehicle. So these are the factors will be considered for premium fixing. So I request all of you to write it in a white sheet, and whenever the college reopens, you can get that in the assignment book. Okay. So I hope all the concepts, whatever we have discussed, you are clear with that. So in the next class, we will go with the other unit. Students, have you understood the concepts, whatever we have discussed today? So majorly we understood about the marine insurance, the difference between the marine insurance and the fire insurance, and the last part we even understood the motor vehicle insurance. So there we understood the various types of policies involved and factors that are considered when it comes to premium. Okay, so after understanding all this, I hope the concepts are clear with you, but once you have to study so that the concept will be very strong. So I will end the session here, students. So have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you so much for your patience listening.